somewhere right now. A machine is finishing a sentence you never wrote. It's signing a painting in a style you never sold. It's answering questions in a voice that sounds just slightly like yours. And the strange part, the part that should stop you cold, is that it learned how to do all of that from you. Not some version of you, not a composite or a guess. From the actual words you typed into a search bar at 2 in the morning, from photos you uploaded, from essays you published, from comments you left, from poems you posted. And then deleted, thinking no one was watching. Something was watching, and it remembered everything. To understand what we're really dealing with, you have to understand how these systems were built. Large language models, the kind powering ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and dozens of others, were trained on what researchers call the corpus of human knowledge. That phrase sounds noble, the collected wisdom of civilization. Here's what it actually means. Hundreds of billions of web pages scraped from the open internet, Reddit threads, personal blogs, fan fiction, scientific papers, forum arguments from 2009 that you've long since forgotten. Books, thousands of them, digitized and ingested without the author's knowledge. Your writing, my writing, the writing of people who have died and can no longer object. No consent form was signed. No opt-in checkbox was clicked. The data was taken because it was technically accessible, and in the eyes of the companies building these systems, accessible was treated as equivalent to available. That equivalence is one of the most consequential assumptions in the history of technology, and almost no one voted on it. It doesn't stop at text. Recommendation algorithms, the ones deciding what you watch next, what you buy next, were trained on your behavioral data. Every pause, every scroll, every hesitation before clicking away. These systems modeled your attention at a granular level your closest friends couldn't match. They know when you're bored, before you do. Facial recognition networks were trained on photographs, scraped from social media and public databases. Your face has likely been used to train a model that can identify you in real time, in a city on the other side of the world. And every time a creative AI generates an image in the style of a living artist, it's drawing on that artist's work, ingested without payment, without credit, without a conversation. The model doesn't cite its sources, but because the model has no sources. It has patterns, and those patterns came from people. This is not hypothetical. The New York Times sued OpenAI for training on millions of its articles. Getty Images sued Stability AI for scraping over 12 million photographs. Thousands of authors, including some of the most recognized names in fiction, filed class action lawsuits, arguing that their life's work was ingested to build systems that now compete directly with them, for readers, for commissions, for relevance. The companies have largely responded that this is transformative use, that a model learns from data the way a human learns from books, absorbing, synthesizing, not copying. Courts have not yet fully resolved whether that argument holds, but the cases surfaced something the industry would have preferred to keep quiet. Detailed logs of exactly which books, which articles, which data sets were used. And those logs confirm what many suspected. Nothing was off limits. Everything accessible was consumed. The question was never whether it was legal. The question was whether anyone would notice. And for years, the answer was not enough people, not loudly enough, not fast enough to matter. And then there is the question of you, specifically, personally, individually, you. Your digital self isn't something you chose to create. It emerged over years from 1,000 small decisions made under entirely different assumptions. You posted a photo because you wanted to share a moment. You searched for something because you were curious, or scared, or lonely at a specific moment in your life. None of those acts were meant as contributions to a training dataset, but they outlasted the moment they were made, and now some part of them lives inside machines that will be running long after you've stopped using the internet, long after you've stopped being curious or scared or lonely in the ways you were then. Your data will continue shaping outputs after you are gone. In a very literal sense, you have already contributed to something that will survive you. And you were never asked if you wanted to. The legal frameworks are still catching up. The ethical consensus hasn't formed. The companies building these systems are, in many cases, genuinely uncertain about what they have created, which is either reassuring or deeply alarming, depending on your perspective. What is clear is this: the question of who owns your digital self is not abstract. It's playing out right now in courtrooms and data centers in ways that will shape the next 50 years of human creativity and human identity. The question is whether the people most affected, which is all of us, will be part of that conversation. Or whether, as has so often been the case with technology, we'll simply wake up one day and find that the decision has already been made. Already made without us, from the data we left behind. So here's the question for this episode, and I genuinely want to know what you think. If an AI was trained on your writing, your voice, your creative work, and it goes on to produce things that people value, things that influence culture, things that outlast you, do you think you're owed something? Credit? Compensation? Acknowledgement? Or nothing at all? Drop your answer in the comments. There's no right response, but I suspect the conversation will tell us something that no model has been trained to say yet.